morning to you. We thank you for tuning in to We Have 6:60 a.m. As you know, we are always full of news to spread. This is Zach, Jacob, and Victoria here today, also known as your fellow news reporters. Today's story starts with the U.S. military deploying a second bombing straight towards Nagasaki, which is a major city in Japan. The plutonium implosion type bomb Fat Man was dropped on the city at approximately 11:01 this morning. On August 6, 1945, by a B-29 bomber flown by an American soldier, Major Charles Sweeney. For today, we have two interviews with Harry Truman and Emperor Hirohito. We are going to have our other reporters, Jacob and Victoria, take it from here.
We have word from the man who authorized the bombings, President Harry Truman. For a while, the U.S. has been conducting conventional bombings of Japan. However, despite their decreasing military power, the Japanese refused to surrender. Truman says, despite their heavy losses at Okinawa and the firebombings of Tokyo, the Japanese refused to surrender. The saturation bombing of Japan took much fiercer tolls and wrought far and away more havoc than the atomic bomb. Far and away. The firebombing of Tokyo was one of the most terrible things that ever happened, and they didn't surrender after that, although Tokyo was almost completely destroyed. Close quote. To Truman and his advisors, it became clear that the only option was to completely destroy Japan's ability to make war.
While there were many options Truman and his advisors had, the only one that would end this war with the least amount of U.S. suffering would be to bomb the major cities of Japan. Thousands of hours of research and development had went into these atomic bombs. It was up to Harry Truman to make the decision, and he writes, "It is an awful responsibility that has come to us. While many are proud that our technological development will lead to the end of the war, many U.S. citizens are frightened that the power could be used to destroy their own world."
Thank you for explaining, Victoria and Jacob, but it has also come to the people's attention of what the Japanese thinks of the recent bombing on their cities. Do we have any information on that?
Yes, we do. The bombing stretched action for Japan's government officials and Supreme War Direction Council. Debate ensues as they contemplate what the best decision is to make. We have received information which might mean the end of the 6-year war. Foreign Minister Shigenori Togo has proposed the acceptance of the Potsdam Declaration, which set terms for Japan's surrender. A statement provided by Emperor Hirohito says, "I do not desire any further destruction of cultures nor any additional misfortune for the peoples of the world. On this occasion, we have to bear the unbearable." Close quote. We can only assume that the Japanese will surrender within the near future.
The bombing that had just occurred is horrible and has already affected hundreds and thousands. It looks as if about 14,000 homes have caught fire. About 40,000 people that were once roaming the land are now gone as they have been vaporized. A year later, 30,000 people were dead due to radiation poisoning. Then, with another 5,000 years, 100,000 were dead. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in his 20s when he was greatly affected by both the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing. Mr. Yamaguchi was in the city of Hiroshima on August 6 when the little boy bomb was dropped. He was just under 2 miles away and was temporarily blinded. Damaged his left eardrum and had burns across the top half of his body. He then left the city of Hiroshima and went back to his home in Nagasaki. On the morning of August 9, 1945, he was telling his boss about how he had almost been killed just days before, when a bright light filled the room, the same light from the day before. Mr. Yamaguchi died at 93 on January 4, 2010, suffering from stomach cancer, which was likely caused by the radiation of the two bombs.
I see. It is truly unfortunate for what has happened to the innocent citizens of Japan. Well, it seems like we're nearing the end of our time here. We thank you for taking your time, being with us throughout our radio broadcast as we covered the Nagasaki bombings. Before we go, we would like a little recap on what we've discovered with you. We learned that there were two bombs that were dropped. One of them we have talked about is Fat Man. The other one that we have not covered in this broadcast is Little Boy. Fat Man was dropped at 11:01 on August 6th, and which was dropped by a soldier named Charles Sweeney. We have also learned that there were many houses that were caught on fire in Nagasaki when the bombs were dropped. All the people who once roamed the land to escape from the bomb were all vaporized, as one would say. Despite the fact that Japan was bombed and saw an alarming decrease of military soldiers, they still fought back and would not give up. That seems like what we have covered. Once again, we thank you for tuning into We Have 660 AM. We hope you have a fantastic day.